ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां व्यासशंकरमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं त्वं नमामि। So, namaste to all of you. So we continue our journey into this topic called Jiva Yatra. So the Jiva continues the Yatra, while we continue the Jnana Yatra. So in the previous, we'll just read through the previous two verses, then we go to the third verse. Nityananda Sukham Padam Suvimalam Praptum Samiha Yutaha Sarve Janma Bhritas Sada Vyasaninaha Tatstana Sammarghane Evam Satyapi Sadhya Sadhana Yugam Samyagna Jananti Te Na Prapta Aduna Pisaukya Padapi Swabishta Rupam Yataha Tat Prapyai Prabhu Samhitapi Kripaya Trayanta Saranvitaha Mallikataka Madhyagha Kavisamam Protsahayanti Naran Evam sadhana kalpanam rachayate sanmargaganam satam tadvishno paramam padam cha sahasa gantum manishavatam atmanam ratinam bhaviti nigamo buddhim cha tatsaratim Deham Syandanamindriyani Turagan Shabdadi Tadgocharam Cheta Pragrahamadharena Iman Vashyastanotyatmavan Tasyaivaapyamidham Padam Sukhaganam Paramparam Yadvanaha. So we were discussing this verse. This particular verse is an analogy. It is an example of the Jivatma. It explains how the Jivatma is set up. So you need a setup, you need a structure for something to achieve. So without the structure being there, you cannot achieve anything. So here, the Jiva, that is us. The Jiva is what? The Jiva is an individual with a body, mind, sense complex, with an understanding that he is a mortal. He is a limited person. So he is the Jiva. And with this understanding, with this structure in place, only through this structure only you can arrive at the truth. You cannot arrive at the truth without having the structure. So you cannot say that the body is not required. I do not read intellectual stability. I do not read the mental stability. All the three are required. So here he gives the example of a chariot or a travel through a chariot. So the chariot is being given as example. And here the chariot is supposed to be the physical body structure. The passenger. So you need a passenger who is supposed to be traveling in the chariot. You also need an objective or lakshaha, direction or a place where you want to go. You need a vehicle or a transporting mechanism. So here it can be a car, it can be body, whichever it is there. If you want to go from place to place, you need something to transport. At least a leg is required. Forget about even car or chariot. Even at least you want to walk from place to place, you need to have at least that is required. So you can even take that also. Then you need a driver. You need someone who can drive you to the place. Then you need the road. So the road is here talks about the vishayaha or the objects, the pleasures. So what does the jiva do? The jiva actually travels with the physical body, mind, sense complex, follows the pleasures and pains, follows the pleasures given by the objects, right? Assuming that the destination is only this. Correct. So the Jivatma here is called the traveler. The Paramatma is called the destination. See, for the people who are sadhana chatushi sampannaha, means the people who are endowed with the qualities or adhikaritvam, the one who has got the right abilities and the qualifications and the effort being put there, for such a person, the Paramatma will be the objective. For the person who is not ready, the Paramatma will not be the objective, the Paraha will be the objective. It means other objects which are giving pleasure. It can be all the material aspects which are there. That will be the objective. So the Jiva travels through this phase, experiences all the pleasures and pains, and finally arrives at the truth that all these pleasures are not going to give me permanent sukha. So he stumbles upon accidentally Shastram, and then that Shastram guides him through the process. So it's called, so Paramatma is supposed to be the objective, and this physical body is supposed to be the vehicle, and the Indriyas, the Manaha, Buddhi, Chit, Ahankara is the one which is the driver. So that which drives the vehicle. So your body cannot move if the mind is not ready. Right? So even for your body to move from place to place, your mind has to be ready. And all of them has to work together like an orchestra. You cannot say that only my hand only move to the place. So when you move, the entire structure goes, correct? Including your eyes, ears, body, everything goes. So for that, you need the physical well-being is required. So the author here talks about three things are required here. First thing is called the physical health. So physical health is required. For that, a proper diet is prescribed, or proper diet is important. One must not eat junk food or unhealthy food or any food that is not going to be digested by the physical body. One must eat also with restraint. One must not be tempted by the variety of food being offered and just, have the second time, third time, fourth time. So normally it is recommended for us, for a spiritual person, that you have go only once. You take a plate, whatever the plate can occupy, whatever you can take, and that will be your diet. That is what I think the body will be able to adjust. The second time you take is actually for kama. It is actually not for fulfilling it is actually for fulfilling desire. The third one again is more desire. So you'll see people always, they go for, first round, second round, third round. They keep going after because they like particular type of food then they go after the particular food 2-3 times, without understanding that there are people also who are waiting in queue, that they also have to wait. So what it means here is that the physical health is important for the structure to perform. If a physical structure is not there, if the physical body is not well, unhealthy food habits, unhealthy sleeping habits, waking long hours, not exercising enough, not doing physical exercise, watching TV all the time, all these are supposed to be not giving you good health. Right? So very important that you should have a healthy occupation. Generally, people like me and or anyone who is teaching us, they tend to they ignore this part, because you tend to read or teach or meditate or do something or the other. So the physical activity is not that great as other people. And especially the Swamijis, you will see in the ashrams, they are round in nature, very voluptuous in nature. Because sometimes the bhiksha becomes too much. They go to some place and bhiksha becomes very heavy, and that day the digestion will not work. So they also are regulated in terms of the physical, what they want to eat. So the next thing is emotional health. So one needs to be having physical health. Second thing is also having good emotional health. So emotional health is a very important thing, because one has to be having the right attitude, and the emotional health is depending upon the 3 gunas. So every one of us has got 3 gunas, correct? So we've got Sattvic guna, Rajo guna, and Tamo guna. So Satvikam guna is the one which we have now. So, or when you are studying Shastram, or when you are reading notes, or researching some topics about anything which is literary or anything which you are interested, is Sattvika guna, which actually enlivens your thought or improves your clarity in thinking, etc. Sattvikam. And every individual has got 3 gunas, but the proportion can vary from individual to individual. And this proportion is determined by not only by a Purva Janma, it also depends upon our upbringing. Our upbringing, our culture, our family, and our tradition and education. So if you are born in a very Sattvic family, in a very Brahminical family, who are traditionally very orthodox and they always do religious puja and rituals, etc., then naturally you tend to have some sort of vasanas. You tend to see people doing this, and there will be something which will stick to you. And you tend to be more religious, supposed to be more religious and more sattvikam in terms of do's and don'ts. And if the person teaches you the right dharma, how to lead a life, dharma, quality, respect to people, somebody, an elder person comes, respect to give seat to him, sit on the ground, offer him water. The Swamiji comes, sit and listen to him. These are all good karmas, good satsang. So sattvikam. So if a person has got a very rajasic attitude, a person always goes on picnics and parties and socializes. Every second day there's a party in the house. There's a big dance program, disco program, music program, people coming for dinner, you are going out for dinner. Always people are going in and out. So what this becomes is becomes a lifestyle. Then you tend to wait for that opportunity to come. And if you're not able to do that, you are governed by that attitude. So Rajasikam also depends upon your lifestyle, your culture, your family, and how you lead your lifestyle. Right? Then Tamasikam is very relaxed. Like you're not interested in doing anything. You don't want to work hard for anything. If somebody comes and gives you, food on your table, you are happy to eat, and you just walk away. Don't even wash your plates. Don't even say thank you to the person who gives you food, irons your clothes, washes your clothes, takes you for all these things. So the tamasic attitude. So all these attitudes are present in all of us. And you cannot say that I only have this attitude, I don't have this attitude. An example I can give you is supposing, if there's a buffet. So let's say you invite somebody and you have buffet in your house. And you have chapati, which is a North Indian dish, or roti. And then you have idli, which is the South Indian dish, correct? And there's also some Chinese dish, let's say. Some Chinese dishes there. And you've got three different, there are jnanis are there, the sannyasis are there, or people are there. So one is a jnani who is from a South Indian background. Like let's say I am from a South Indian background, you are from another background, and there's another person from another background. So they're all well equipped and they are all studying their own way, correct? According to the Shastra, what says that you must not have any preferential treatment for any food. If you are given any food, you must accept as prasada. Is it correct? That is what we say. So if I am a South Indian, I should be able to accept chapati, correct? I should be able to go to roti and eat also. But what do? Whenever I see any food there, my inclination is to go for idli and dosa. Even though I may be a sannyasi, maybe I may be having a particular preference, non-preference, but everybody sticks to particular life food only. Even if you are offered other food, you may say, I'm not interested, because your raga dvesha is there. Your likings or your liking is there for a particular type of food which you are concealing. You are avoiding because you do not want to eat that kind of food. So every one of us has got his raga dveshas. Despite being a jnani, despite being a jnani also, everyone has got this raga dvesha. So it is something inevitable. Raga dvesha is something inevitable. Likes and dislikes is inevitable. Correct? So that is why the emotional health is important. Correct? So if you don't have emotional well health, it will be difficult to manage this. Then the question comes free will. So free will say is that I have the ability to decide, what I want to do. So every human being has got a free will. Right? But in reality, free will really cannot do anything. Right? Because free will itself cannot make the person do anything. You should first have the ability to first manage the emotions. So whenever a particular thought is rising in you, you have to understand that this thought is something which cannot have control over it. Correct? So situations, thoughts, or experiences, or anything which is happening to you there is something which is beyond your control. What we have to do is the rising of the emotions is not under control, because it is swabhava based. Swabhava means what is based on natural inclination of the person. So if I'm always oriented towards a particular type of thought, then I will be interested only in that particular type of thought. So the rising of the emotion is not in my hand, but the method of controlling or the way to channel my thoughts or channel my actions is certainly in my hand. Right? So it's very important that one has the emotional ability or emotional stability to understand what is emotion. You cannot say that I don't have emotions. I'm going to drop all the emotions. From tomorrow onwards, I will not have putra pasam, I will not have stri pasam, I will not have wife pasam, I will not have pal payasam, all whatever. Or anything you have, it is not called, you cannot drop anything. These things will come. Having coffee will come. Sometimes you want to go out will come. You want to go, enjoy will come. You must not restrict, or you must not say that I will not do this. What you have to do is understand these things are all there and how much you want to entertain the thoughts. If you think that these thoughts are not disturbing your existing lifestyle, if your thoughts are not disturbing your emotional stability, then there is nothing wrong. The Shastram does not say that you must not do this. Shastram says that, are you emotionally stable? Are you able to still pursue your pursuit of knowledge? If so, then even if that is okay to have relaxation, it is okay to have that. So physical health being important, mental health is important. The third thing is intellectual health is important. So three things, intellectual health is also important. So So when you say intellectual health, what it talks about is a particular skill one has to acquire. A particular skill one has to acquire for discerning the truth and the untruth. So intellectual capability means what? You're using the intellect now to understand what is to be done, what is not to be done, what is to be prioritized and what should not be prioritized. Right? See, emotional well-being is understanding the emotions, not trying to subside the emotions, not trying to drop the emotions. They come and go. Thoughts come and go. Right? So understanding that and managing this is important. But using the intellect to encourage certain thoughts or not to certain thoughts is important. Correct? For that, you need to use some tools. You need to use some viveka. So acquiring the viveka is only through the Shastram. So the Shastram or the Veda Shastram comes here as a tool to sharpen your intellect. Right? So the intellect is sharpened through the Shastram. And there are different methods like, Pramana Shastram is there. So you got, through experiences, through inferences, through assumptions, correct? Through Shabda. All the things are there available to you. So understanding what is Pramana Vichara, that is the inquiry about the Shastram, and Prameya Vichara, which is the inquiry into the object. So Pramana Vichara means what? Pramana means Shastram, and Vichara means what? Inquiry. So inquiry into the Pramana, nature of the Pramana. And Prameya Vichara means what? Inquiry into the nature of the object itself. What is the object made of? Then, in the intellect also you require is the method of communicating. So communication also is a very important thing. How do you communicate with the teacher? How do you communicate with your students, with your own your groups? See, in fact, Shastram says that out of 100% of teaching, let us say you are 100%, right? Only 25% is taught by the teacher. 25% is only taught by the teacher, because 100% is never taught by the teacher. 25% of the entire thing is taught by the teacher. The second 25% is taught by the students or by the person, aspiring student working with other people. That means you got satsang. So you may talk to Sridhar ji, you may talk to Sriram ji, or Radha ji may talk to Sridhar ji, or sharing views, sharing opinions, questions, answers, analytical thinking. This is how this second 25% is talked about. Right? So passive listening is not active. It's not enough. So if you just say listen, just keep listening all the time, it is okay. But one also have to have active participation. So one needs to be actively participating. So if there are any doubts, you can ask questions. Or if you can also ask your own colleagues, but what did we understand from this? One of you can actually present the summary. All these things are actually interactive way of communicating, because it sharpens your ability to discern, and this is the shortest way of learning. Correct? So the second 25% talks about this. Then the third 25% talks about one's own effort. So one has to make one's own effort after listening, after going through the interactive questioning and ability, learning what has been taught. Because after many iterations and listening and everything else, it is possible that our intellect may be little bit overloaded, or it is actually too stressed. You need to refresh. The Kushalji asks, why do we teach? So I do, because sometimes after many years of learning and writing and notes and teaching, etc., it is possible that you need to refresh something, you need to redo some things, or present in a different perspective, because you will be more knowledgeable, you will be more understanding more about variety of things. Correct? You deal different types of people, situations, experiences, etc. You become always more knowledgeable. It is just like, when you have a tape recorder, and your tape recorder, you keep on playing the same tape. After some time, what happens? You do not know whether the tape recorder is having a problem because it starts to make squeaking noise. Then you clean the head of the tape, or you change the tape and you put a new tape. Right? So all these are required for you to redo the listening. Right? So CD, all same thing. Today you got CD. So CD player, you do not know is wrong or not. So you change the CD player, or you upgrade the CD player, or you buy a new CD. Right? Those are things. So they are actually called, this is all part of the learning process. Right? So mental health, physical health, intellectual health is important. Now we may ask why this is required, what is the connection between this and this particular thing. There is a particular word called Iman Vashyan Tanoti. See this third line, see, Iman Vashyan Tanoti. That means the person who is capable, right? So Iman Vashyan Tanoti means what? I'll go from the beginnings. Now you understand what it is. See, Atmanam Ratinam Bhaviti. So Atmanam Ratinam Bhaviti. So this Atma is supposed to be the or the chariot. You can say the Jivatma Bhaviti. Last time I told you should add the Nigamaha Deham Syandanam. So Nigamaha Deham Syandanam, Nigamaha Indriyani Turagan Bhaviti. That means, so Turagan means the horse. So Turagan means the horse, and the Indriyas are supposed to be the horse, right? So they are the one which is controlling. The horses has to be in reins. So if the horses don't have control, they will go in direction, whichever direction you want to go, correct? So very important. Then buddhim cha tat saratim. First line, Atmanam Ratinam Bhaviti Nigamaha Buddhim Sarati. So the Sarati means what? The driver should have buddhi, should have intellect. Without the intellect being there, what's the point of having a physical body? You may have the beautiful car, but you don't know how to drive. So what? You need a driver. So without a driver, you really cannot make use of it. So Sarati Buddhim. So that's why the Buddhi talks about the intellectual health. Intellectual health is important. Then Deham Syandanam Indriyani. So Deham means what? Physical body. So physical body talks about what? The physical health. So you should have a good physical health. Then only the Indriyas will work. If you are very hungry, if you are starving and you have not had food at all, and you are busy doing some work, your mind will not work, because all these Indriyas, what they will do, they will start. See, hunger is a natural instinct. And if you are hungry, your mind will not work. Your mind will think about hunger only, right? You are hungry. So your body will not do any work. You will not be able to see, concentrate, focus. So very important is to have nourishing food, eat proper food, and then physical health. So Deham Syandanam Indriyani, right? Means the Vedas talks about the Deham as the Indriyani, Turagan, so the horses. Then Shabdahadi Tad Gocharam. So Shabdaha means what? The words. So Shabdam here means the objects, you can say. Okay. So Shabdaha here means talks about the words. Okay. So all the words which is indicated by the Vedas is called Shabdadi Gocharam. So they are called the objects. Then, in this example, what you can take is Shabdadi Gocharam talks about the horses need a place to go, the road, the path. So the horses need a road to go. So as I told you in the beginning, the pleasures you follow, the objects you follow as the road, correct? So the jiva actually is sitting on the and the chariot, and the buddhi is a driver. The horses are the indriyas, the manaha, buddhi, chitta, hankara, they are indriyas, right? And then you have the shabda adi gocharam, the path, the pleasures, the objects which one person is following. So all is required. You need to have an object, you need to have a target, you need to have the means to acquire it, the path to travel it, the equipment, this driver, the buddhi, everything is required. All of them are required to be operating together. Like a teamwork, like an orchestra, how do? You need to have, everything should work together. Even if one person doesn't play the violin correctly, the orchestra the team will know that, there's some apaswaram is there. They can make out very clearly, correct? So that's why we call organization. So all the organs has to be organized. That's why we call organization. So when I say it has to be organized, it means what? It has to be structured, it has to work together. Right? That's what it talks about here. Deham Syandanam. So Deham is supposed to be the chariot. Indriyani Duragan. So the horse is supposed to be the indriyams, the indriyas. Then Shabdadi Tad Gocharam. So the Shabdam or the pleasures are talks about as a path for the horses. Then Chetaha Pragraham. So Chetanam, when it talks about here, so it talks about the mind. So Chetaha Pragraham Braviti. So the one, the Pragraham is supposed to be the reins. So the horse, how do you control the horse? You need the rein, correct? You need to hold the reins correctly, and then so the mind is supposed to be the one which has got the reins. If you don't hold your mind, and if you don't, control your sensory powers, say the mind, what does it do? It actually directs the sensory organs to go and do the job, right? You go and see this, you go and experience this. So the mind has to have power, control. Unless you control your mind, all these things will go do whatever they want to do. They'll just go do something. They will go and see. They will go and. So, in terms of controlling is very important. How much you talk, when to talk, what not to talk, what to see, what not to see, when to hear, when to remain silent, when to speak up. All these are actually supposed to be the controls required. So the mind actually restricts. The mind has to be trained in the manner. So Chetaha means the mind. Pragraham means the reins. Adarena means using this Adarena through the support of this, through the effort. So one must have effort, one must do the effort. You cannot just say that I'm sitting there and I don't do any effort. You have to make the right effort. Adarena means effort. Then Yaha, Iman Vashyan Tanoti. So Vashyan Tanoti, Iman Vashyan Tanoti means the one who controls these aspects. What is this? The physical body, the physical health, emotional health, intellectual health, and all of them is Tanoti. When you say Tanoti means the one who has got control or restricted or be able to restrict. So he knows how much to go. He has got absolute mastery over how much you should do, how much what you should not do. See, he's pretty much in control, in charge, you can say. So Vashya means, Vashaha means what? In your favor. You must not let the mind do whatever you want. You must be in a position to rule the mind. You must be able to control the mind, manage the mind. So Iman Vashyan Tanoti means the one who is able to control the sensory powers, senses, and who is able to perform this is called Vashyan Tanoti. And who is he called? The adjective is Atmavan. See, Iman Vashyan Tanoti iti Atmavan. So the word you see, Yaha is Iman, Vashyan Tanotyatmavan. You should break it as what? Yaha Iman Vashyan Tanoti. Yaha iman vashyan tanoti. Tanoti means the one who is controlled, who is able to control. Vashaha means what? The one who has got mastery. So the one who has got mastery, only you can control it. If you do not have mastery, you cannot control it. So, and he's called Iman, this person. Or Iman means what? All these things. So, the Manaha, Buddhi, Chit, Ahankara, physical body, mind, including everything, is called Iman. So, Yaha means this. So, this physical body, mind, its complex, the structure, the one who is able to control is called Atmavan. Is it clear? So, Yaha Vashyan Tanoti the Atmavan. Right? So, Atmavan is a person who has got ideals, the one who has got clarity in thoughts, speech, and deed. The one who have got absolute restraint or control in one's behavior, one understanding and thought process. Right? The one who is always awake. The one who is always awake means what? Not like an owl. Awake means he's awake mentally. He's awake mentally to situations and is always alert. It's called Atmavan. The one who understands the Atma also is called Atmavan. Just like Dhanavan, when you say, the one who is a holder of Dhana, correct? The one who has got extreme wealth is called Dhanavan. Right? Gunavan, when you say, is a person who's got the quality of Gunas. It's called Gunavan. Right? Same way, Atmavan means what? The person knows the Atma, the consciousness of the Swarupam of one's own true nature is called Atmavan. And how do you know this truth? The only way you can know the truth is when you are in absolute mastery over yourself. So you have Shama, Dhamma, Tiksha, Parama, Samadhanaha, Nityanitya Vastu Viveka. All these qualities are required for a person. You learn in Tattva Bodha all these things. You don't need to write. You learn in Tattva Bodha all these qualities. So, Atmavan Yaha. So, Chetaha Prakraham Adharena Yaha Iman Vashyan Tanoti iti Atmavan. Okay. So what is dharma only should be followed. What is dharma only should be listened. And one must follow dharma. Right? Then tasya eva. Tasya eva. So tasyevapyamidham. So the word tasyevapyamidham padam sukhaghanam paramparam Kyadvanaha, right? So the word should be Tasya Eva, first word. So you have to bring Tasya Eva, means only that person. So Tasya means only that person. So he qualifies saying that only that person idam apyam. See, Tasyeva apyam idam apyam padam. So apyam means what? Apyati means to attain, to reach. And what is this padam we talked about? Nityananda Sugam Suvimalam Padam Praptum Samihayutaha. Correct? Saukya Padam. So first verse, you will remember. Saukya Padam means, so this is what God talks about. Idam Padam Apyam means the person who is able to, who knows what this objective is. The person who knows what this objective is, only tasya eva, only that person can achieve the objective. And what is this? Sukha Ghanam. See, Sukha Ghanam means, Ghanam talks about dense. And Ghanam talks about here that which is intense or all pervading, you can call it Ghanam. So Ghanam means heavy, typically, correct? And Sukham Ghanam means what? That which is loaded with happiness. So Sukha Ghanam means the one, that happiness which is of the nature of eternal happiness, the one which is loaded with full happiness, is called Sukha Ganam Apyam. So then Param Param, next word, Param Param. So Param Param means that path which has to be achieved. So that means the person who is of the nature of all these qualities which we talked about before, he is the only person. Tasyeva idam padam apyam param param he advanaha. So the word hyadvanaha, you must break it as he advanaha. Means he means what? Indeed, or definitely, positively. The word he indicates assertiveness. Only it is guaranteed that only that person will be able to reach the destination. That means what? If you want to go anywhere, so if you want to go, say, from here to a particular place, you need to first do research about the place. You need to go out. First of all, the destination should be clear. I want to go to this place. Then you research about all this, how to go there. Whether I go by car, or I go by walking, or I go by train, or by a combination of train and car and plane, or by boat, or I just do some of them. All these things is analyzed. Then what do? You prepare yourself physically, correct? So if you want to go to Kailash Yatra, you have a mental attitude. Go to Kailash Yatra. You just cannot rock up one day and say, I want to go to Kailash Yatra. You have to prepare. You have to prepare. See, I don't know. I can't go because physically I'm not that endowed, or maybe that fit enough to climb all these mountains, etc. So I may use a different method. I may go by jeep, or I may go by helicopter. See, some people say I want to go walking only, do the pradakshina. So you have a destination, but you need to have the physical strength. So you have to develop the physical ability. You have to exercise, you have to sleep well, you have to have this, run, jog, everything has to be required. Then you should have the emotional ability, strength also. Whether I can stay away from the family for that long, whether, all these things are required, correct? Eating food, what will I get there if you don't eat the food? So you should be emotionally prepared, accept what is available, correct? Sometimes you'll get chapati, sometimes you'll get idli also. Sometimes you'll get dal, sometimes you'll get anything also. You'll get spicy food, oily food, everything you'll get. You will be ready to accept it. So emotional strength is required. The intellectual strength also is required. Why I am going there? What is the objective of going there? Is it going to help my further studies? Or is it going to really pursue, improve my concept of understanding of the Bhagavan? So very important. So these three things are important in every life. So Shastram says here that only that person who is very clear about what he wants to achieve, and one is very clear about all these three types of health. Tas eva idam padam apyam hi advanaha. So only for such a person, the destination is clear. Other people cannot reach destination even though they try. Look at the first verse, now you understand. See what the first verse says here. Na prapta adunapi saukya padavi. So na prapta means what? People are all making efforts. See, Shastram doesn't say that you're not making efforts. They are all making efforts. Everybody is doing something or the other. But till now, they have not got the result, or they have not got the results because the approach is not, the effort is there. Approach also is there. But the destination is not very clear. They are not very clear where they want to go. And it is not consistent. Right? It is like, somebody I think asked Swamiji once in the class. He says, after studying all these things, I think I understood, I'm experiencing Ananda. But how do I know that I'm complete, I'm Atma? So the person is able to say that he's able to experience Ananda. But then when you ask the same question in another manner, nobody can say anything because you are contradicting yourself. One day you say that I am Ananda, another time I am saying that I don't understand Ananda. It cannot be possible. Once you discover happiness, you will be always happiness. There is no question of going back again saying that yesterday I was happy very much, today I am not happy. So this happiness is talking about here is actually attributed to the upadhi, the physical, the manifesting medium, not to the Atma. The Atma doesn't have anything like quality called happiness, or it's always happiness. Right? That's why it's very important. It says that this particular person only can achieve the objective only if he is ready to go there. In fact, there is a story or just example given in one of the other Upanishads, where this Shuka is supposed to be one of the rishis, Shuka Brahmachari. So Shuka Rishi was there and he went to King Janaka. So, and King Janaka actually called him to come and see him. So he and Janaka is supposed to be Maharishi. He himself is a very wise person. Even though he is a king, he has taught to many rishis. So the Shukar also goes to Janaka to learn something. And he invites him and he stays. Then he says, okay, now I know that Shukar is a very, very accomplished rishi. He is a wise jnani. He has learned a lot of things. But I want to test him to see whether he still has got over certain things. Like sometimes, the Swamijis also, there are different types of Swamijis are there. You will see them in orange robes and suddenly they will be doing something else. So you do not know whether the robe is the right thing or whether they are. So sometimes you have to do this. So Janaka Maharaj said, he says, I'll give you an oil. I'll give you an oil in a utensil. I want you to go around the palace 3 times and come. And because the Shukra has come to Janaka to learn, the king has got the ability to tell what he wants to do, a test. So he says, you do this first. So before even he comes here, the structure is set up. So all the around the palaces, which are wherever Shukar is going to go, he has got beautiful damsels dancing. Music is there, attractive maidens dancing, very, very colorful objects are there. And he is structured such a way that any person who is actually not trained will fall for this. Because in a palace, like you can have anything, there will be all gold will be there, there will be silver will be there, so many things will be there. And person is not Atma Vrigraha, the one who has got no control over things. He can just stop there, enjoy, and then come back. You can go there. So this Shukar goes around 3 times. He comes back to Janaka and says, here is your oil. And not a single drop of oil has been spilt in the 3 rounds he met. So what it means is here, that even though there were objects of pleasure available for the jnani, his focus was so clear that he was not distracted with so many other things happening around. He can see things, he will be seeing things, but he will not be interested, he will not be pursuing those things. So this is called Vashyan Tanoti. Yaha, Vashyan, Iman Tanoti. Very important word. So the one who has got control is the only person who can achieve this. Okay. So very, very important. That's such a person called Atmavan. Okay. Only that person only can reach the goal. Atmanam raviti bhaviti nigamo buddhim cha tatsarathim deham syandanam indriyadi turagan shabdadi tadgocharam cheta pragrahamadare iman asyastanothyatmavan tasyaivapyamidham padam sukhaganam param param yadvanaha. Is this clear? Have you got the meaning for every word? Anything which you have understood? Okay.
Sir, and intellectual health patti konjam.
See, intellectual health, it means, See, we have a buddhi, correct? We have the buddhi. So the buddhi always tells what is right, what is wrong. See, every person knows what is right or wrong. The mind will say that you do this, but it is ultimately the buddhi which discerns. We have that power for us to develop to see which is should be pursued, which is not should be pursued. Right? And when the buddhi is in charge, then the mind also will follow that. If the buddhi's vivekam is not there, the mind will just go wherever it wants. Because the mind says, this person is not viveka at all. It's not worry. He is not going to think about it. Let me just go and do nicely, slip away and do all these things. So, because you are not questioning the mind, correct? And for questioning the mind, what you should do? You should have the ability, you should know what to question also, correct? So, how do you question the mind? You must know what is the truth, what is untruth, correct? What is nitya sukham, what is anitya sukham? Is this object pleasure is going to give me happiness? No. Then I do not need to pursue this. So one by one, you have to discern and you have to analyze things to see whether this particular thing which I'm pursuing is going to take me to that path. If that, first of all, you should know the path. See, the buddhi also should be able to recognize that I am seeking this study or I am pursuing this path mainly for Atma Jnana. Right? So if that is not there, then you will not be able to question anything. Right? So questioning ability is done by the mind, by the intellect. The intellect questions the mind, says, look, I know that you want to do this, but I don't want you to do this. So for that, you should have intellectual strength. You should have, should be, alert, always alert. For that, Shastram is a study for this. So without the base of the Shastram, without the structured method of learning, Shravanam, which is learning, and then analyzing, as I told you, the intellectual ability comes with, the 100% comes with 4 aspects. The first 25% is taught by the Guru, where you listen. The second 25% talks about your interaction, not passive learning, active learning. That is, you involve actively, you discuss, you read through, you put questions, you analyze, satsang, etc. It's very important. The third 25% talks about your own effort in putting these two together. So listening and your satsang, etc., which is there, and trying to say, okay, I think I understood what it is now. So you again redo the same thing again and again, keep Shravanam and Maranam again and again. So Maranam means what? Going through the listening again and again, discerning the doubts, going to the doubts and removing any errors or anything, perception errors, you remove this. So it is like, when you want to filter something, what do? You can't remove everything in the first filter, correct? So you'll have to use first time filtration, then second time filtration, third time filtration, then finally you will be left with something which cannot be filtered at all. So what do you do with that? You chuck it away. Then you're left with clear knowledge, right? And that clear knowledge is the one which is used for Nididhyasana, for teaching. So the fourth step is when you have clarity of thought, when you have clarity in understanding, when you have clarity, when all doubt are resolved, and you do not have any more doubts, but you still have some habitual errors. Sometimes you make an habitual error. Very rarely you will make an habitual error. Sometimes, so those habitual errors can come if you are not systematic, if you are not following a systematic routine. Like if you don't teach every day, or if you don't read every day, if you read once in a week or once in 2 weeks, it is possible that some lethargy can come into this. See, we'll do tomorrow, it's okay. I already know, what is the point? They can wait. So that's why our philosophy is, when one student comes, I teach. If 2 students come, I teach. It's not that only one person is there, so nobody is available, so I can take a holiday. Okay. So what it means, this is discipline. So that is what is important. So the Nididhyasana, the fourth quarter, 25% is achieved when you do teaching, when you do impart education, and that can come to you only when you have studied for a lengthy period of time. Your doubts are resolved. You have been active participant in the class. You have been studying for many years. Then only it will come to you. it, all are important. That is called intellectual health. Intellectual strength is important. You may have the physical strength. Physically, you will be able to do a lot of things, running around here and there, effort, etc. You may be able to also have emotional strength. But if you don't have the intellectual ability, if you don't have the knowledge, this will be of no use. That's why 3 things are required. All the 3 things are required. You cannot say that I don't want this. So, very important. Is it clear, Raman? Huh?
Yes, sir.
I'll do the 4th verse and then I'll unfold the meaning in the next class, okay? Because it's already 9 o'clock. Prapyam tatparam sukham hi munayo. Prapyam tatparam sukham hi munayo. Moksham samachakshate. Moksham samachakshate. Prapyam tatparam sukham hi munayo. Moksham samachakshate. Jiveshana jagadishvare harahitam. Jiveshana jagadishvareshvarahitam. Janaika sadhyam dhruvam. Yenatmanyati rohitasva mahiman. Yenatmanyati rohitasva mahiman. Anandatmako bhasate. Nityadhyasamitischayena galati. Jnanam tadevamalam. So this particular verse talks about that this Jiva, Ishana, Jagat, Jagadishvara, Rahitam. Rahitam means what? Without. Sahitam means with. So Rahitam means what? Without. In reality, this Jiva, Ishaha, and Jagat. So Ishvara, Jagat, and Jivan are non-separate. So Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara are non-separate. There is nothing called world. There is nothing called Jagat. There is nothing called Jiva because it's only one. There is no difference between saying, I am only a Jiva. This Ishvara, Bhagavan is different. And this Jagat is different. So all the 3 are different. You have got Triputi Beda. 3 different types of Bedas are there, correct? So what it says here is, Vishesha means what? Beda. So there are differences. So this verse talks about, establishes the fact that in reality, for the person who has got established successfully in the previous verse, and now he's on the track. He sat on the vehicle now. And the horses are there ready. His mind is ready. Now he has kicked the horse and say, now you go. So when he is going on the path of studying, the Shastra now comes to the help and saying that, oh, now you are really studying now. So now I think I'll explain to you what it means. So he says here that Prapyam Tatparam Sukham Hi Munayo. So the old Munayo means the wise people. They say that Moksham is Samachakshate. So Moksham is supposed to be the one to be realized. So Moksham is not an object of knowledge, he says here. So we'll unfold this meaning in the next class because this is a very long verse. And here also there are 4 different types of topics being introduced. Just as I introduced the physical health, mental health, intellectual health. Here also there are 4 different types of knowledge is being described. I'll tell you what they are. First is called Aham Chaitanya Sarupamasmi. Aham Chaitanya Swarupam Asmi. Second, Aham Nirgunaha Swarupam Asmi. Aham Satya Swarupam Asmi. Aham Ananda Swarupam Asmi. So there are 4 types of things discussed. So Aham Chaitanyam, Aham Nirgunam, Aham Satyam, Aham Anandam. So the 4 different things are being discussed in this verse here, which is not actually in the verse. You will not see it in the, but it's actually hidden in between the lines somewhere there. Right? So Prapyam Tatparam Sukham. Right? So we will go through that verse in the next class. Have you got any questions in today's class? Anyone else got anything? Kushalji, you're okay? You're able to follow? Okay. Sridharji, you're okay? Radhaji, any questions or anything you want to say?
All fine.
Fine.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll conclude the class here and then we will meet. So tomorrow we have, when is Navaratri starting? Is it the week after? 2 weeks time.
From October 17th.
October 17th. Okay. So tomorrow we'll start with Durga Suktam. Okay, we are starting a new topic called Durga Suktam. Okay. I'll send you the text of the class before we start. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tatsate Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaste and Shubhradri to all of you.
Shubhra.
Shubhrat.